Okay, Michael Nugent is chairman of Atheist Ireland. He joins us now. Hi, Michael.
Good morning.
You've launched, your organisation have launched a One Oath for All campaign. What's that all about?
Well, there are 3 sets of high office in Ireland: the President, a judge, and a member of the Council of State, which advises the President and which includes the Taoiseach and Taoiseach, for which the Constitution requires everybody who takes those positions to swear a religious oath. Now, that effectively means that a conscientious atheist is excluded from holding any of those positions, as is a minority religious faith person who is, for whatever conscientious reason, unable or unwilling to take an oath in the presence of somebody called Almighty God and asking that God to direct and sustain them.
You can just say the words, though, can't you?
Well, you can, and that's one of the nod and wink Irish solutions to problems, and we're told that frequently, that you can just say that bit of it and you don't have to mean it. Mm-hmm. But if you don't have to mean that part of the oath, why do you have to mean any of the oath? Why do you have to mean that you're going to maintain the Constitution and uphold its laws? Why do you have to mean that you'll fulfil your duties? Ironically, it is those of us who some people believe have less concern about morality that take these oaths seriously, and we want to believe when we say that we swear we will do something.
Yeah, but it is what it is. I mean, would you be in favour then of a second oath that runs along it? So obviously you'd have one with the sort of religious aspect to it, but then there'd be a second one that you could say, no, actually, I prefer to opt to declare loyalty to the Constitution, to the state, and its people. Would that satisfy your concerns?
No, it wouldn't. There should be just one oath that everybody can take.
So, but yeah, that is why to satisfy atheists. Why should people of a religion have that taken away from them? That's not fair. Is it?
First of all, it's not to satisfy atheists. The United Nations Human Rights Committee has said that this is a breach of human rights at the right.
I know, but with all due respect, you're not a human rights spokesperson. You're a spokesperson for Atheists Ireland. So
no, our policies are based on human rights. We do that specifically in order to ensure that we're not just promoting atheist rights. That the United Nations Human Rights Committee has said that it breaches human rights, and the reason that they say that the second formulation that you're talking about would also breach human rights is that you have a human right not to be forced to reveal your religious beliefs or non-religious beliefs in public. Now, if you had a set of separate oaths, that would mean that people would be obliged to let people know what their religious beliefs are. There's a second cause for that, or a problem with that, particularly with regard to judges. And the Irish Constitutional Review Group from decades ago pointed this out specifically with regard to judges, that it would be damaging for the process of justice to have some judges that were known to be religious judges and some judges that were known to be secular judges, because it would compromise their integrity when they're dealing with cases that might be relevant to religion.
Right, but are you saying we couldn't trust judges to put it to one side their own beliefs and to rule fairly?
Well, that's what the Constitutional Review Group said. Because conflict of interest is not merely about the individual, it's about the perception of conflict of interest and the perception that justice is being done impartially. To put it the other way, so I think when you said earlier on, obviously you should have the religious oath and then you could have the extra one, that's a blind spot that people have because the status quo is so familiar. But if you reversed it, and if you imagined for a moment that in order to become president or Taoiseach or a judge, that you had to swear that there's no God, everybody would realise that that's inappropriate. Everybody would say, look, you can't ask a religious person to swear that there's no God. And if somebody said, well, how about as an alternative? We'll obviously have that you have to swear there's no God, but you can also...
but I mean, we live in a Christian country where whether people are practising a religion or not, the majority believe in a God of one description or another. So your example would be, it would be a fine example if we were in a country where the absolute majority of people did not believe in a God. And the suggestion that anyone would be asked to swear that there isn't a God is not really a realistic argument, with all due respect, Michael. I mean, this
of course it is.
This just feels like another people chipping away at religion. We're seeing it in the schools, we're seeing it in different areas. People will feel that this is just another little, it might not have an impact now, but it's just chipping away. But I mean, I just don't understand why it's so offensive to you that this is the way it is.
Well, for exactly the same reason as it would be offensive to a Roman Catholic to ask them to swear that there is no God.
Well, I'd be satisfied to have two oaths, but you wouldn't be, so... You know?
No, and nor would the Constitutional Review Group, which was composed mainly of Roman Catholics, and nor would the United Nations Human Rights Committee. And when you say the majority, you're quite right about the majority being religious. But the whole point of human rights law is to protect individuals from the majority. That's the point of human rights law. If you look at Northern Ireland, when there was a Protestant majority that was oppressing a Catholic minority, nobody down here would have said, well, look, there's a majority of Protestants, so the Catholics just put up with it. The whole point of human rights law is to protect individuals. And with regards to freedom of religion and belief, freedom of conscience, equality before the law, freedom from discrimination, these are all very, very fundamental human rights upon which other rights are then built.
Okay, we'll see what the people think. Thanks, Michael.
You're welcome.
Michael Nugent there, chairperson of Atheists Ireland.